All right, welcome all you happy traders out there. Good to have you here. Today is Friday, and today, of course, is April 22nd. So it's great to have everybody here for our Stock Analysis Fridays. All right, if you're watching the recording, any links that we discuss, we'll try to put those in the comment areas down below. All right, let me run through really quick some of the administrational items I have to cover, and that includes our risk disclaimer, where we want you to know there is risk involved in actively trading the financial markets or even investing for that matter. It is possible to lose some or all your money trading the markets. All depends on how good you master the tools and also how good you use risk control. Risk control is a very vital element we find in doing well in the markets. Also, any ideas or stock ideas that we look at today, or maybe you pick up some new ones, which is usually what happens, run those by your financial advisor, accountant, or attorney, whoever manages your money, to be sure they are suitable for you. We don't know your personal situation. They do. So it's important to run those ideas by them. And then finally, make sure you're trading with risk capital. In order to trade the financial markets, you have to have enough risk capital so you can fund your trading account with enough money so you can use proper risk control. That way you can ensure that your losses are kept small and yet let your winners run. So that's a really important aspect, and we like to cover that every time we start a webinar. All right, now, let me grab my new book here. I got a new book out here called Money Management for Traders, and it's available at Amazon. We'll put the link below. Gene, if you want to put that in the comments area, you can, but you have to copy and paste it because it doesn't have a direct link for that. But we'll put it in the comments below on the recording. So the Money Management for Traders book is a really, really excellent book if you're wanting to get into risk control and how to do it. This is one of the biggest areas I think traders fail in, is having proper risk control. When we trade the financial markets, we don't always win. And when we lose, we want to make sure those losses are kept as small as possible. That's how you make money in this business. And then, of course, let your winners run. So that's what that book is all about. It teaches you how to do that. We have a variety of other books on technical analysis. And then we have a very, very more in-depth book on a trader's money management system, which is the book on the far left that goes into the nitty-gritty of it all. But if you want a concise, really good book that you could take the concepts from and start implementing those right away, that book on the far right, Money Management for Traders, is the book for you. All right, let me just quickly go over some of the tools you're going to see me use today. All right, in the upper tier here, all these particular tools here, this is our charting software. So these are actual tools that go on your charts. Now, we start with the ART trading system on the far left. This is looking at price patterns, and it draws pyramids or triangles on the chart, so you'll see those. It also discovers key pivot points in the market known as 1Bs and 2Bs. And then at the bottom of the chart, we have extra indicators, add-on indicators called the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. You'll see me use those as well. They deal with momentum and a whole host of things that we like to look at before we actually take a trade, or even when we get ready to exit a trade. And then under that, we have 4 scanners that we use to find trades. And one of them is called the multiple time frame scanner. And this is a new scanner that actually is being released next month. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link down for that as well, so you can get a special price on it. We have a pre-release price. And then I have the trade confirmer, the turbo scanner, and the Elliott wave scanner as well. So the multiple time frame scanner, what that's looking for is it's scanning 3 different time frames, and you can select the time frames based on your style of trading. And that's going to tell us in that area whether there is a good looking trade or not. And so it looks at trend and so forth. So those are the scanners. And then under that, finally, just as important as all the other software, is our risk control software. And that's the Trader's Assistant, the Risk to Reward, and the Trade Size Calculator. So all that is available. Now, one of the things I thought I would do for fun here, people are always saying, well, how are you doing with your day trading? Well, here is the Trader's Assistant, where we keep track of our day trades. Now, we ended the fiscal year on March, 29th of this year. We had a very profitable year last year. This is the results for this year in about since what, March 31st is when we first started recording. So this is our equity line here. Now don't forget, in the day trading room we trade 2 days a week. That's it, for 2 hours a day. And so we have an edge there. If you exploited that edge over 5 days, your results would be even more impressive. But if we look at the scorecard, all right, on a $100,000 account, we're already up 3.66% in a market that's been declining for the most part. So we're able to go intraday, and this is trading the 1 minute time frame on the futures markets. We trade the gold, we trade the MES, we trade the micros, and we also trade the NASDAQ, and we trade crude oil, and we trade the Russell, and we trade the Dow. And so those are all futures markets. So this is our futures markets results trading on the 1 minute time frame using multiple time frame analysis. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link up in the recording as well. But that is proof in the pudding of our trading results for intraday time frames. All right, now, the more people we get here, the better we do here. So like, subscribe, and share so we can take a look at all the stocks out there and find some really good ones. The more people here, the more opportunities we have. And then finally, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to attend, whether you're watching the live presentation or the recording. So great to have you here. All right, well, let's get out of that. I want to take a look at Netflix right off the bat. And before we get going, please realize any symbols you want me to take a look at, type them in caps. Okay, I say John types one in MERC. So great. All right, here's Netflix. And Netflix has been selling off really since the beginning of this year. So, I mean, take a look at this. It was up around $700. Now look at it, crashing down and gapping down to 216. The art software, which draws these triangles on the chart, captured this move down really good. And then when you combine that with the indicators at the below, look at the owl, major wave 3. Then you had a PTF indicating more lows. And now you've got even more lows coming. So this baby is not done going down yet. So it's definitely bearish. Now, when we take a look at a stock or a future, whatever we look at it, an index, we use multiple time frame analysis with our trading tools. And when we use multiple time frame analysis, what we're doing is looking at 3 different time frames. And the time frames you choose will be dependent upon what kind of trader you are. So if we're looking at longer term position trades, where normally the daily chart is our primary chart, then you'd set it up like I have it here with a 60-minute chart here, looking at the short-term aspect of the chart, and then a daily chart here looking at the intermediate aspect, and then the weekly chart on the far left looking at the long term. Now, if you're a day trader, for example, here's crude oil. Okay, notice crude oil is in a sideways market moving its way down. But on crude oil, if you were trading the 1 minute time frame, that's up here. So this would be your intermediate. Your 15 second, if you were trading the 1 minute, would be your short. And then your long term would be the 5 minute. All right, so it all depends on what kind of trader you are and what you analyze. And for today, we pretty much stick with our position trading because that's what most people tend to like. All right, let's jump in here and take a look and see what's cooking. All right, let me start, make sure I start at the right top. Hello, everybody. Everybody's saying hello and hello back to you. All right, MERC. Let's take a look at MERC, the MERC. All right, give that a chance to load. All right, so John, I don't know what your position is or not. If you've been long, we are certainly reaching that target zone. So this is one we've looked at before. And notice on the far right-hand side on our weekly chart over here, we had drawn in a short-term target. And as you can see, since last week, prices are moving up into the target. Now, what's interesting in today's market more than ever is the Dow, the indexes in general have been very, very volatile. But at the same time, certain stocks have not been. Now, this has not been too volatile, this particular stock, really. It's been pretty orderly. So it's moving up, hit the target, even when the market has been down most of the week. All right, so kind of interesting, right? So in this case here, it is starting to pull back a little bit, But I want to bring your attention to this, John, because this is a green PTF. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about being able to connect the dots of the tools that we use to trade the market. Now, stop can be down here, but this is telling you we're going to have more highs. It has a 75% tested accuracy rate. So it means that when it is green, whatever the highest price in that green area is, there's a 75% possibility of getting higher. Not a guarantee, but a possibility. Now, what the PTF does not tell us is, are we going to get a pullback and how far is it going to go? It's not, it doesn't help us with that, but it does tell us whatever the pullback is, as long as this stays green, and it does it 75% of the time, then you should have a return to higher highs. Now that gives you the confidence to stay with the trade if you're not sure a particular top has been hit, especially when you hit it over here. So I would hold on to this. I'd have the stop under here. And if you wanted to, once again, you know, here's the art working in real time. Notice we have a 2-bar bearish art reversal here. So this is a pivot point. You know, you could have scaled out a third of your position here or a half if you wanted to. Up to you. So there's many different ways in which we can trade art based on, you know, when we got into the trade, how much profit we have and things like that. So that's all going to determine if you want to scale out. So my analysis on this, we're going to see a pullback. We're seeing it now. And on the 60-minute chart, let's kind of take a look and see where that pullback is probably going to go. So I'm just going to roughly draw a retracement. So you're probably looking at retracing between $15.76 down to $14.91 before a new high. Okay, so hopefully that helps. All right, good one to look at. Excellent. All right, let me find our next one. Good morning, Key. How are you? Tor, good morning. All right, Euro USD. Let's go to our TradeStation platform because that's the data I have that on. All right, now, what time frame? Roughly, okay? All right, 15 minutes, 5 minutes. All right, perfect. Okay, so let me just see what I got here. All right, I have the 30-minute over here. I have the 5-minute here, the 1 minute here. So as you can see on this is, I'm going to take a look here. Let me just make sure I got the right one for you. I'll take a look at the euro. One of the ones that I think you wanted me to look at, Tor, also was the British pound, right? So I got the British pound up here, also called the cable. Did you know that? The British pound is known as the cable. Do you know why? Very interesting story. If you go back in time a long way, when they first started trading the British pound, they used to have a cable that ran from New York to London. And so that's where it picked up and they transferred the information back and forth for the currencies. So that's where the cable came in for the British pound versus the USD. Kind of interesting. All right, so very bearish right now, as you can see. Beautiful entry on the art software up here for that. Your stop would be here on the 30-minute. Your stop would be here if you're still short here. You had a nice run down here. All right, and then you go back in here. So you're pretty short there. We got a red PTF here. So you kind of want to stay short here. All right, short term. This, don't forget, this is short term. This is very, so this is a 5-minute time frame. So on this case here, we have bullish divergence. So we're getting near a bottom, aren't we? So draw your fibs and that will give you your target. We're close right there. So that's looking pretty good. Let's take a look at, what was the other one you wanted to look at? Give me a second. Euro USD. That's right. Euro USD. So EURUSD. Let's take a look at this bad boy. I kind of want to keep it to stocks today. So I certainly don't mind this because I think you had asked us to take a look at these. So this is great. All right. Euro USD coming down as well. Red PTF still on the daily. Okay. So you want to stay short here. Now, one of the interesting things here, this is what I love about multiple time frame analysis, is when we look at a stock like this, you've got 3 time frames. And again, this is intraday. But notice that on the 1-minute time frame, what a straight entry here. We trail our stops by moving them down on top of the pyramids. So there's your stop. Now your stop over here is right in this period, right in this level, right about here. Okay. So notice your stop on this chart is way up here. So again, it becomes, you know, do you want to hold this for a longer period of time based on the 5 minute, or do you want to short 1 minute scalp? It's up to you. If you want a short 1 minute scalp, you put your stop here, or you can do a combination. You may put a scale out point here and a hard stop up here for your position, but it's going lower. We've got negative, negative, but again, like the other, I think probably we'll have a little bit of a pull up. I love the stop here because that should survive any type of pull up for one more low. If you want to just trade this move here, then go over here and get out at this pyramid here. All right, so a lot of options for you over there. All right, really cool. All right, let's take a look at Amazon. Let's go to Amazon, AMZN, and this one is for Key. Key, how are you doing? All right, so Key is saying, what's the Elliott wave? What's cooking on this? And I assume you're looking at a position trade here because I've got the position charts up here. All right, so kind of pretty messy, isn't it? A little bit. I mean, you can see some direction, but it doesn't, it's kind of back and forth, and then got to a top here in this area and really got kind of, it's been messy for a long time. So what do? Well, go to a longer time frame. And let's see if we can take some of that noise out. And lo and behold, here's the noise out. All right, so wave 3, for sure, okay? We just probably finished it because now we have a pretty significant red owl. So we got a 4 in progress. Let's take a look and see where those fib retracement levels could be on this. And I'm going to use this point here and draw them up here for an approximate. So it looks to me like we're on our way down to a wave 4 target zone in between these two blue lines, which is going to be between 25.49 and 1764. So this is the wave 4 target zone. So that's kind of looks like where it's going to go. Now, just as a food of thought, 70% of the time, wave 4s end here. 15% of the time, they're shallow and in here. And we're already here. So you got to be a little nimble here. 15% of the time, they go below the high probability area, but cannot go above wave 1, okay, which would have been this area in here, okay? So that's how it stands now. So I always play the highest probability scenarios. So I think it's probably going to go in here. Now, if it does rebound and take off from here, then draw your fib extensions in and you'll find that they will be higher than if it corrected further down. So that's a possibility, but I play the high probability zones. And, you know, if you look at the other time frames, all right, we still technically have a trend line now down. Okay, so this is red. So you got one coming down here. This is red. This is red. So we're still moving down. So in this analysis, I think it's heading down to that target zone. So hopefully that helps you in a wave 4 for sure. Not for sure, but more than likely. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Let's see what we want to hear. NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ. All right. Tor, just to answer your question, I mean, here are the results. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Okay. There they are, buddy. Okay. And we did hundreds of trades last year. All right. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ for Tor real quick on a short time frame. Still not convinced. So let's bring that up and see what we got cooking for that. So I'm going to deal with let's deal with, how about we do NASDAQ. Okay. So when you're trading the NASDAQ or the futures like this, I think you're overseas. So you'll probably be trading the futures. Okay. So in a case like this, right now, the only situation I see is possibly a trade using a very short time frame down to this bottom here. We're kind of going sideways, so I probably at this particular point be very careful about entering into a trade at all. I'd like to see a red owl on here and a red owl on here before taking a short trade for a target zone down in this area here of 13,580. Okay, so that's kind of where I would look at that. All time frames, all markets. And if I remove the X and Y axis, which represents price and time, you would have no idea what chart you were looking at. Okay. All right. So let's move on here. All right. Thanks, Tor, for those symbols. SFM for John. SFM. All right. So we're back on the weekly chart, daily chart, and 60-minute chart. Okay. So, John, on this one, we have a very strong owl on the weekly chart and a bullish trend in place. And if you were trading this to the long side, your stop would be under this pyramid. All right, we probably are getting a pullback right now, as you can see on this time frame, and we're starting to see it on this time frame. So this is like putting that under a magnifying glass. So we're going to see a pullback, it looks like. But here's the thing. I wouldn't trade the pullback. I'd stay long on this because you don't want to go against this. This is really, really strong. So I see that this is not over. I think it's going to have higher highs, but it's a pretty volatile stock. I mean, you can see where we've had dips that have lasted quite a long time, and then it's recovered. We even see it on the daily. So you're going to just have to be patient with this one and put your stops where you feel it's appropriate, either based on the weekly chart or the daily chart. But I see more highs coming. All right, Frank, how are you doing today? GBTC, let's take a look at the crypto ETF GBTC. All right, so this is kind of getting interesting here. I think we've looked at that almost every week. So here's a couple things we got to be careful with here. We might have a significant bottom under here, which is the same as saying under here. But it certainly isn't moving yet to the upside with any kind of oomph, is it? In fact, we have a red owl over here right now. So if you had gone in earlier, you got to put your stop really low, if not at the bottom. Because what happens is during a bottoming process, which we may be in here before it goes, you got to make sure, if you're committed to this trade, to stay out of the volatility. And that's what we're experiencing now in here. Now, could this sell off and make another low? Sure. But that's why we have a stop here with risk control. But, you know, you don't want to get stopped out if it's just bouncing around and getting ready to go, right? Now, if you're not in it yet, I would wait for this thing to bounce back up here. You're still going to have plenty of profit because we're thinking this thing could get as high as 55 bucks short term, right? So I would kind of be a little bit careful on entering, and I wouldn't enter now because you have a red owl on the 60-minute. But if you're already in, keep that stop low. You got to do that, or else the volatility will take you out. If you look at the weekly chart, it's kind of bearish because we got a bullish pyramid here with a stop really low, low enough to keep you in during all the volatility. That's the pyramid's job. It's using price patterns to establish key levels of support for stops. Now, the other thing too is you got a red here. So if you want to be really, really more careful, wait for this to turn green. So I would kind of, if you're not in it, I would wait a little while. If you're in it, keep that stop where it's low enough so you don't get stopped out. All right, let's take a look here. I did the NASDAQ already on the 1 minute. All right, let's see what else here. Want me to revisit that really quick? Here is the NASDAQ on the 1 minute. And here's the 1 minute time frame in the center, okay? And we have a leaning towards a movement down thanks to this PTF tool, but it's kind of channeling, all right? So not very strong, and we have a downtrend in place on the 5 minute, as you can see from this dominant pyramid. These MPs occur during corrections in a dominant trend. That's why they're called minor pyramids, MPs. But I would say on this one here, if this goes red, I would go ahead and take the short trade and put my stop right here at the pyramid. That's MNQ, but it's kind of channeling a little bit right now. All right, let's keep going here. All right, CCL. Let's take a look at CCL for Kevin. All right, give that a second to load, Kevin. I see a lot of red. That's one thing about having the indicators at the bottom. Kind of gives you, my eyes usually go to these two indicators on all the charts right away. And then if they're red, I take a look and see what the actual price looks like. So it looks like this was a 3, maybe a 4, and a 5. And what I'd like to do is open that weekly chart up a tidbit. Yeah, that's kind of what it's looking like to me. All right, so let's draw some fib retracements first. This is all about now using the tools to connect the dots. So if we think we're in possibly a wave 5, then we want to make sure that the uptrend after the dominant wave 3 owl down here is over. So let's draw that from wave 2 to wave 3, and it kissed it, okay? So that could be a wave 4. I usually like it to go a little bit more in there, but you know, the markets don't always do the precise thing. All right, so this is definitely looking like a possible wave 5. So if that's the case, let's get rid of this and see where the target is. So extensions here to here to here. So it looks like the target, oh, it's going almost down to 0, okay? So that's not a good sign for this stock at this particular point, CCL. So what do? Okay, well, if you're going to go short, let's see if we get a good entry off the lower time frames. So the higher time frame we're looking here says don't go long. You want to be short if anything. Problem is we're at 19 bucks and that thing's saying we're going down in the single digits, if not going bankrupt on this possible. All right, we have a red PTF also on the daily. Okay, but this is still green. As soon as this turns red, because you got a red here, if this stays red and this turns red, take the short position, all right, and your target should be down in this area. Calculate your risk to reward. Do not go long on this, okay? Short only. All right, thank you for that. All right, Terry, put in the symbol, okay? Let's see what else we got here. Google, let's take a look at Google, GOOG. Let's see what's cooking on Google. All right, so we looked at Google last week, and it looked like a short position because here's our target zone for wave 4. Here's 3, 4. So after 4, you know, you get 5 because there's 5 waves in a trend, but it's still heading down. Still heading down. Here's the problem with going short now. If we think the first target is 2256 in this area here, prices are already at 2449. Problem is even if you put the stop above here, your risk to reward is not 2 to 1. Okay, if anything, it's under 1. So that would keep me from taking a short trade here at this time. Now, back up in this area here, when this was red and this popped up here, hey, great, short, okay? But not now, it's too late. So what I would do is wait for it to come down into the target zone. Let's just open this chart up a little bit. Wave 3, okay, there's the owl telling us wave 3. We can see it. Pyramids did a great job on this bullish run, but you're out now. You'd be taken out of wave 3, and now you got a new pyramid pointing down. So in here is where it's heading. I would wait until it gets in here and then go long. Okay, that's what I would do. Because based off the Elliott wave, that's what's going to happen. Based off our tools, it's still going down. So good one to look at. Thank you. All right, let me come back up here. NVDA. We looked at this one in the video last week too. All right, so NVIDIA, as we said, we started drawing in our fibs quite a while ago. And let's open up NVIDIA for a minute, just see this particular. See, that's clear. When you look at a chart, one of the dots I like to connect is when I look at charts, I like to see the Elliott wave pop out at me. If it doesn't pop out at me, then I have to scratch my head a few times to do the analysis. It's not as clear of a chart as I'd like it to be. This is clear. No question about it. Wave 3, green PTF, meaning you'll have higher highs eventually. But let's see what's happening. We still have a red owl. We're still coming down in the target zone. But at least we're in the target zone, right? So now let's see what we kind of want to do, very similar to the other one we just looked at, is let's wait, like Google, let's wait for this to bottom and then take a long trade. So what's interesting on this one here is that this one started selling off really back in the fall. And now it's finally reaching its target zone. So these things take a while to get to their target zones when wave 4 is on a long-term chart. And notice here, we still have bearishness, 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 active pyramid. Okay, so it's still heading down. So don't go long yet. All right, we've got to wait for the 60-minute and the daily charts to turn around. Okay, but it's getting there. It is getting there. All right, let's take a look. Hello, PP. All right, let's take a look. What is it, Moss? Okay, let's see what old Moss is doing here. Ooh, Moss is currently in a big move to the upside. Look at that. All right, this is a very, 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 very strong owl, wave 3, green. So this trend is not over. Notice the pyramid is way back here for a long-term trade. The reason it's back there is because it's marched right up since that pyramid was hit. Now, you could have gotten in back here off this one, because here's where the PTF turned to green at the same time the pyramid formed. So now your stop would be up here. So you got a profitable trade. But what the pyramids are trying to do here is say, okay, the momentum is still strong. You're going to get a little pullback, but you want to stay with this market. Chances are when you get this pullback, you'll get another pyramid formed somewhere in here or something. Okay, so stay with the trend. All right, now you have a nice pyramid. If you want to trade just wave 3 and exit, there's your stop there. Okay, right at the roughly what, $58. And we have bearishness here. So we're coming into a pullback. Whether it's going to be a major wave 4, we'll still have to wait and see. But I don't think it's going to be and I don't think it's going to be a weekly wave 4 because that owl is so strong. I would not want to short this at all. That's the last thing you want to do. And I would keep my stop here and give it some room to work its way down a little bit more. And you may find that at that particular point, that pyramid will keep you in. Okay. So that's how I play that. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at LAZR. Long after the pullback. Yeah, wait for the pullback then. But you got to decide what kind of pullback. You may not get a major pullback quite yet because there's so much momentum still in this. All right, LAZR. You might want to use the 60-minute chart if you're trying to get in for one more high. All right, so LAZR long. Okay, let's take a look at this bad boy. All right, so PTFs are saying more highs are coming. All the other indicators are saying not yet. This is bearish, 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 bullish, and bullish. So the PTF is calling for more highs, but the other tools are saying, hold on, not quite yet. So the decision here, I don't know where your stop is, but hopefully it's at the bottom here. And hopefully that'll hold, okay? If you're not in this yet, wait for the market to turn bullish. Green, green, no more bearish active pyramid. In fact, let's look for a bullish one and a bullish one here too. Okay. So this one for a long trade, if you're in it, make sure your stop is low enough and make sure your position size is correct for a small loss if you get hit on this one. If you're looking to go long, wait a little longer because it could be a good long position if it turns around. All right, US or ZB? Is that a symbol, US? See what we got cooking on that one. Just trying to load it. Not so good. Are you asking for futures? If you're asking for futures, Terry, I need a complete symbol. I need the expiration date or the expiration date on the futures. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. STLD. All right, let's take a look at this one. As you can see, we've looked at this one before and it was marching on up, but now it's in the target zone. Let's open up real quickly this chart. All right, so what's interesting about this is notice now that this owl has gone above the previous one. So originally this was a major 3, major 4, major 5. This is now a minor 3, minor 4, minor 5, and we're still in wave 3. Okay, so we're probably close to the end of a major wave 3. We do not have any more green on the owl here. We had it here. So I think it's a little late to get in on this. And if you're in it already, here's the way I would play it. Depending on where you got in and how much profit you have. If you have a lot of profit, I'd put my stop right here on this pyramid on the 60 for half a position. Okay. If this yellow pyramid is confirmed, move your stop there. You've got a green PTF here. So the chances of another high are great. Let's just hope that it doesn't go or retrace before it makes that next high. That's what we never know, okay? So that's what you always got to determine. So if it comes back, chances are this pyramid will hold, okay? It's pretty low in the target zone. So you're in pretty good shape. So I'd probably just keep my stop there, all right? If you want to put your stop here for your entire position, that's fine, okay? You could put a scale out here, or you could have scaled out on the 2B. You could put a scale out right under here for half a position too. All right, there's many, many different ways to play this. And you know, when we day trade, we do it the same way, okay? So you've gotten a real gift depending on when you got in. I mean, it's marched straight up, so it's due for a pullback. So put a stop for half a position, half your position under that 2B reversal right here. Okay, it's perfect. If you don't want to use that, then use the pyramid over here. All depends. Depends on how many positions you have and a whole 9 yards. All right, Grayson, how are you? ALHC. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Short. All right, let that load. And short is good. I like a short position here. I think I'd wait a little bit before taking it, though. I think overall you're heading in the right direction, but let me just make sure. Might have spoke too soon here. Can you see? Nope. Okay, good. So I thought maybe there was a green PTF, but that was left over from the other market. All right, so short looks good here. I would probably wait for this to turn red. You've got red here. You've got a PTF, and you can draw your fibs. You'll probably get a bearish pyramid at some point soon on this. So that's kind of where I would kind of think that needs to sit here. All right, here's what I'd like to see on this. I'd like to see this turn red. And here's the problem with this. It concerns me a little bit. We're marching up here on the weekly owl. This is not a major 4 correction yet. What could happen is this is a 3. This could be an A. This could be a B, and then we could have a C. And then this will go green. So that's my only concern with this one. Now, we have red here, but that may stay red even if it goes up here, okay? So you got to be a little careful on this. So I would say nothing wrong with a short trade as long as you get a pyramid to the downside and a red owl on the daily. That's the way I would look at that. All right, ARI. If you're short already, well, I'm sure you got your stop at some place that's either keeping you in or you're trying to determine where that should be. All right, ARI is a short as well. Okay, on this one here, 3, 4, PTF is, let's see where the retracement zone is on this one. Ooh, okay. All right, so that's probably a 1. That's not going to be a 4. This is not going to be a 4 because the retracement was too high. I can tell by looking at it. So maybe a 1. This will be a 1, 2. However, this is green. Okay, so I don't think I would take any of these shorts here because of this green. Let's see what this lower time frame. I don't know what time frame you're trading, but not one of my favorites. Okay, it doesn't pop out at me as being one that I would do. It's kind of messy in here right now, so I don't see any market making a very clear direction on this yet. All right, let's see, CRK, and this is for PP. All right, PP, let's take a look here at what CRK is doing. All right, so wait for pullback and long from daily chart. Okay, couldn't have said it better. All right, I think that's what you got to do on this one. You know, it's already marched up. Okay, huge march up. So wait for the pullback. This is huge. This is huge. Do not short this under any circumstances. It may turn around and make another high before it pulls back. All right. It looks like it's starting to a little bit here, but this thing, I don't think the pullback is quite ready yet for a pullback, major pullback on the daily yet. So I kind of would hold off on that. Might just be a minor blip on its way to another high. So when you have very strong owls, all right, but even though you have the configuration on the 60 that looks like a classic 3-4 coming up, this and this kind of takes this and makes it not so sure. So in other words, this may not go into a major 4. This may just be a slight pullback. All right, so let's keep going here. Good ones. You guys are great. All right, let's see. eBay. Oh, we haven't looked at eBay in a while. eBay. All right, eBay for a short. All right. Grayson, you are very chancy, which I like. I like chancy. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, let's see what we got here. We got a short position. Hopefully you've been short, okay, because a short position is the right direction here. I would not take it short now. I don't think you kind of got the risk to reward quite in your favor anymore. But are you short currently? And have you been short for a while? All right, Tor, thanks for joining us, okay? Hopefully I helped you out there a little bit. All right, so if you are still short, you know, your pyramid is way up here, right? You could look like if we can get another little lower side, it looks like we're going to get that over here and here. This will be your new pyramid forming down here, so you want to put your stop there. So just trail your stops down now, okay, if you're short. Cool. All right. AAPL. Let's see what we got here. All right, so here is Apple. All right, so let's open this bad boy up. Again, screams wave 3, right? Boom. All right, wave 3 is always the highest high in that move up, provided we don't have enough of a pullback to warrant a wave 4. We haven't had that. So this is the wave 3 high top. We still got green. It still could make another high. Wave 3 could still move over here. Or if it sells off from here, then this will be the wave 3 and we'll be going into a wave 4. All right, it's a little too early to tell, but we are seeing bearish divergence. Okay, so we got to kind of keep an eye on that. Let's see if the lower time frames help us a little bit. Not much. Okay, not much. So on Apple, Patricia, I don't know exactly if you're long or not. If you're long on Apple and you've been long for a while, a stop here is not a bad place because it's pretty volatile now. So that's not a bad place. If it goes into a wave 4 correction, though, let's see if that now is the top. Let's just draw in where possibly it could go if it's done with wave 3. So wave 3 is over, and we can expect it to get into this target zone here, which is below this pyramid. So you will get stopped out. However, it could bounce up and make one more high. That's possible. So a variety of things you could do here. Now, you just had a 2B hit here. So let's say, you were long 1,000 shares and you got in way down here, okay? You're sitting with a lot of profit on a 2B. If you wanted to take off a third or a half of your position, in other words, sell out 500 shares, you could do that. When it gets down here, it turns around, you buy the 500 back. All right, there's a lot of little options you could do, but that's kind of where I'd be with that. And that is Apple. Good to have you here. All right, Eleanor, we are doing fine. Weather is beautiful here today. Yeah, we had a little rain here in San Diego last night. Can you believe it? The sunny state. All right, let's see what else we got. Key, how you doing, Key? SP. Love it when you guys give me the symbols. SPXS. Okay. This is the old inverse. All right, so on this one here, interesting. Now, when the markets, look at this thing. Boom. All right, so green PTF, red owl, all right, bottoming for a long time. And if we kind of look at this here, if you wanted to be chancy and take a long trade, you could have done it when this was green and put your stop here, and it would have held so far. So maybe this is a bottom. Okay, could be. Have to see. You got a pyramid here, and you've got a red here. So I guess what I'm thinking on this, if you're going to go long on this, you want to take a little chancy, be a little chancy, then wait for this to turn green and wait for that to turn green. Then it'll be less chancy. All right, that's SPXS. So I said long, good, just so you know, but wait for those owls to roll over, okay? All right, Frank, SDS. All right, we got to be thinking about which ones are going to be our winners for today, right? All right, SDS. All right, green PTF, very similar to the one we looked at with Key, okay? You still got red here. You're so close to the bottom here, and you still got red here. So I would kind of wait for these things to get a little more bullish, okay? And honestly, if you break above here, that's really a good sign. And if you wait until that point happens, then guess what? You're looking at a possible huge run. So you kind of want to not jump the gun. You know, you had a pyramid here form, so your stop would have been, it'd have to be here for you to still be in that trade. So I would wait. If it gets above here, you can put your stop here. I would probably wait on this one, but I'd keep watching it. So no new longs until you get above that ledge that I was showing you. Okay, so White Lion, which is Grayson, is thinking on that eBay trade, she was looking as a channel break to the downside. Gotcha. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, let me know if you have any more questions on that, because I think I got that. All right, ATEN. I think I got eBay. I think I ended up talking about that, so I think you're good on that one. ATEN. All right, this one we looked at before too. This is breaking out to the upside. Definitely breaking up to the upside. Still got a little red here. Green is here. I think we may even fill this gap. See how we had a little gap here? A lot of times markets fill that gap and then go. So you hit the target zone. So we may be getting a bounce off that. I'm going to open this one up on the weekly for just a moment. All right, let's just quickly take a look at this. So if you traded this move up here, all right, this would be a 3. Looks like a 4. I always like it when I can see the ABCs, right? So we could have a good bottom here. Okay, that's possible. We're starting to see some pretty strong rebounding on a day when the Dow's down 600 points. Dow's not liking those higher interest rates. All right, or inflation for that matter. All right, so here's the issue with this one. I guess wait for green here. You've already went above here. So just wait for that to turn green, and then I put your stop down here. Okay. And then your target will be a fib extension. And let's see if that's going to be above the PTF. About just a little above the PTF. So that's your target if this thing takes off. So if you get in now, you'll have a 2-to-1 risk to reward, okay? So just wait for this to turn a little bit more. And I think you may get a pullback on this to fill a gap and then go, and that may even be a better price by the time that turns green. So we'll have to see. All right, let's see. Let's keep going here. MP. Hopefully that doesn't mean minor pyramid, but let's put that in there and see what we got cooking. Nope, that comes up. All right, so let me take a look at this long-term chart. You guys like the multiple time frame analysis stuff? I'll tell you, it really helps me. All right, so what do we got cooking here? Not much history, but we did have a green PTF. We do have bearish divergence. So we got higher highs, bearish divergence. So that's, from what I can see, it's hard to really tell without a lot of history, but it may be coming back a little bit. You certainly see that on the 60-minute chart. Okay, definitely pulling back, and it's not done yet. You also see a red owl now on the daily. All right, so any long positions you would have been stopped out at. So it's not my favorite, okay? I don't think I would mess with it, even for a long, not yet. Now, if things turn around on the shorter time frames, we'll look at it next week. We'll take a look and see, okay? So remind me next week, Patricia, okay? All right, let's see. We got here. Frank is asking, Dow Jones, are we in for a high yet? Well, let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, a couple of things with trading the markets. We work in a realm, as you all know, of probabilities, right? So anybody that tells you for certain that something's going to happen, okay, forget it, all right? They don't know, all right? Nobody has that kind of crystal ball. That's why we have to use risk control. That's why risk control is so important. But we do trade the probabilities, and that's what I do, and that's what our tools do. They give you the edge, the probability, but not certainties. So you always have to use risk control. Now, like I said a month or two ago, we got a short position on the Dow, all right, using this pyramid. Stop is way up here. I put it way up here. But I have no idea if I'm going to make a profit on this yet. But this makes sense and this makes sense. So that it's a longer term trade to a more significant retracement area. If I get stopped out, well, it's risk control, right? We lose our 2% and we reanalyze and look for another trade. That's how we do it. But in this case here, I can't answer you 100% if the top is in. I can say it is a very, very good possibility it is. And if that's the case, this is going to be a 3. And if this is the case, it's going to be a doozy. But, all right, until it breaks this support, you know, it's been going back and forth. You've had days when it's been down 500, up 500, down 500. So it's hard to say. But I will say the tools alone are indicating lower lows here, and this is kind of neutral. So it's not looking good. Let's just say that. But, you know, it may slide down a little further, bottom, and then recover. But I think if it takes out this low here, that's going to be pretty significant. So I'm kind of saying, based on the Dow Jones Industrial Average weekly chart that you asked me to look at, looks to me like a possibility. There's no reason not to take a short trade. Let's just say that. So I'm kind of liking that. All right, I think I went through them all. Did I miss anybody? What a great session today. Loved it. All right, so let me ask you guys a question. Any winners today? Any winners today? Any ones you think you might want to take home? Not so sure, right? I didn't really see anything that jumped totally out on me. There were some that came down to the wave 4 target zone. I think we're kind of neutral today, aren't we? I think we're kind of neutral today. All right. So there you have it. We don't always find them. A lot of needles in a haystack out there. All right. So great session. This will, of course, be recorded and available for everybody on our YouTube channel. And I think it gets posted on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Participation is super. All right. And that's what's going to make this type of session really good, is the more folks we can get, the better. So I want to thank everybody for attending. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next Friday, and take care.